In light of recent events, the question I have seen asked quite a lot is, what's the position of British citizens serving in foreign countries' militaries? Are they allowed to do that? Well, like I say, I don't want to get into the politics of this, so I'll just state what the actual law is, because this is applicable generally. Um, it's governed by something called Section 4 of the Foreign Enlistment Act 1870. And that makes it an offence for a British subject to enlist in the forces of a foreign country that is at war with a state in which the UK is currently at peace. Okay. This cropped up quite a bit in the Spanish Civil War. You may have read Orwell's Homage to Catalonia. But people from the UK went to fight for both sides. And when I say both sides, it's a bit more complex even than that, because it was, it was quite factionalized. But there were suggestions of prosecutions there when people returned, but they were found that they didn't fit within the actual law, because Section 4 doesn't cover civil wars, nor does it cover militaries engaged in putting down insurrections or fighting terrorism. So when it comes to people serving in the IDF, the government's position is, first of all, this is not officially a war, so it falls on that hurdle. But also, Gaza is not recognised as a state by the UK government, and therefore, again, it doesn't fall within the remit, because the Act explicitly says against a state with which the UK has friendly relations. That's not to say that anybody who commits individual war crimes cannot be prosecuted. The UK reserves the right to prosecute for war crimes wherever they are committed. And it's not a defence to say, well, it wasn't a war crime in the jurisdiction I was actually serving. The UK applies its own standards. And like I said, this does crop up because lots of people have dual citizenship. And sometimes they are expected to, do national service. So I've got, I know Norwegian people have to go over and do 2 weeks every year. And, don't to lighten this too much, it's a very serious topic, but a solicitor friend, he had to go back to Singapore every year to do national service. And basically they put him with a bunch of other people, lawyers, in one little armoured car unit. And they actually managed to off their commanding officer, albeit by accident. And after that, they were told, well, thank you very much for your service. It's very much appreciated, but we know how busy you are and we don't expect you to fly over every year, so feel free to stay at home if you want. I mean, we suspect that's because they just couldn't find an officer who actually wanted them anymore. But anyway, as always, hope you found that vaguely useful, vaguely interesting. If you did, please consider liking, subscribing and sharing.